Hello everyone, my name is Miss Grau, for those of you who don't have me. I teach design, painting, AP drawing, and AP 3D. But I'm going to be showing you some tricks to pumpkin carving. Many people who know that I make art know that I tend to carve a pumpkin every year. So I'm going to show you some of the tricks that I use and some of the ways that you can actually make your pumpkins really cool. So first off, you need to choose an image. So once you've chosen an image, you are going to draw on that image. And I know that's gonna sound a little strange, but let me show you. Here you can see what I've chosen for this year, which is Princess Leia. And I'm also gonna probably put some text on the back that says fight like a girl. But you can see on this that I've drawn on this and I've actually basically separated my gray values. So I'm not gonna include her arms because it's gonna be really hard to put on a pumpkin, honestly. So what I've done is I've gone through, and if you look at this through the light, you can actually see that I've separated these gray values into a gradation. So anything that is white is going to be carved out of the pumpkin, and anything that is black is going to be left on the pumpkin. Okay, so there is my pumpkin. I'm gonna go ahead and remove the lid. Now, I want you to notice just how thin the walls of this are right now. I've basically scraped a huge portion of the pumpkin body out of this, so it actually doesn't weigh very much. It's really handy because I'm not going to be cutting all the way through the shell of the pumpkin. I'm actually going to be shading using these gray values that I have on here, and by doing that I'm adjusting the amount of pumpkin that I carve out of this wall, but the thinner it is, the easier it is. Okay, so Leia has been positioned onto my pumpkin the way I want it, so you'll notice that there's some spots in here that I kind of had to fold to make it fit because obviously paper is flat and pumpkins are round. But at this point, what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your needle tool or a pin or a push pin, whatever you wanna use for this, and you're gonna go around these black lines that you've already made, and you are going to poke holes into the surface of your pumpkin along the edge of where you wanna carve. Okay guys, so I have pulled that off and there is my Leia on there. I know that feels like it looks really, really complicated, but I promise if you just start carving out areas, it's gonna start to look pretty normal in a sec here. Though just to illustrate it, I am gonna go over this in pen so you can see what's going on. Okay, so there's my final trace. It at least gave me a little more of an idea of what this was supposed to look like, so I just drew it off of that while I was observing it. So once I start carving, the first thing I'm gonna do is carve out the white, which is the lightest value. So that is her face and some of the highlights in her hair, actually. So we're gonna get started on that, and I will show you kind of as I do that. All right, so this is a Linoleum Cutter. So this is gonna be one of the first tools that I use. So this is a lino handle. And I'm gonna take a blade and put it in here. So personally, I like to start with the number 2 blade. It's called a V-gouge. So it's a V-shaped gouge. They are sharp. Please be careful with them. You can really hurt yourself with them. It's easy to slip with them, though it's much easier to actually carve pumpkin with these than to carve linoleum. So you're gonna loosen this screw at the top, and there's a little like gap in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and slide that in the gap and tighten this. So that's the first step, is we're gonna get my tool all ready to go. So as we begin to carve here, so this is actually, it's really quite fun. I am going to use this little V-gouge and begin to press out the white areas. So you basically slide it into the pumpkin surface and start removing little sections. So it definitely isn't the world's fastest way to cut through things, but it allows you to remove different amounts of things so that you can actually create different shading. As you can see, it is leaving different levels of pumpkin, and so just as a matter of showing you kind of what I'm doing here, if you were to clear out a decent amount of area like that, so looking at that right there, and then go in with a loop tool, you can actually go in and then clean that area out so it's nice and flat when you're done, so it doesn't leave those little gouge marks like it did. So the first thing I'm going to clear out is going to be the white space because it needs to be the thinnest, and then I'm going to move on to the gray values.